everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is I'm watching Lost, Season 1, Episode 11. Where have all the Cowboys gone?
All the best Cowboys have daddy issues.
I suppose this is a fine episode.
I kind of like this one.
Do you?
For a couple of reasons. I appreciate what this episode does for Jack. I understand that we get tired of his daddy issues. I like what we learn about him in this one.
The just true north?
Just that he is willing to sacrifice something personal for what's right.
Sure. But he's such a fucking...
Okay, say it.
He's such a martyr. I don't know.
Oh, no. He was here.
You have to stop. The rain has washed away the trail. Even if he was here, you've got... Jack!
Not letting him do this.
Not letting him?
Not again.
Okay, I don't consider what he does in this episode martyrdom. He is a martyr. I'm not arguing that with you. I don't think that's what he's doing in this episode.
I remember every single time I've watched this episode, I remember the last one ends on such a like, oh?
Yeah.
And then this episode, it's absolutely furthering the plot, but it does not pick up where we left off. Like, it does not answer any questions in that regard.
Except until the very, very last moment when Charlie says they only wanted Claire.
Claire. What?
That's all they wanted.
They.
All they wanted was Claire.
Sure, but even... excuse me. Even that, like, just the how was Ethan dragging them through the jungle?
I don't know.
It just sort of, and without really getting into it, and admittedly, there's a lot I don't remember. I just feel like this doesn't hold up to scrutiny.
Sure.
We talked a little bit about it, and you said some words, and I'm like, right, and I'll go ahead and say the word factions here. Yeah. But it's like, it's there's just something, I feel like what the previous episode threatened us with, this is just such like a, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then to be contrasting it or paralleling it with the man pain, it's just like, oh, God.
So, I definitely see where you're coming from, but there's something...
It's not that it's bad, it's that I just don't enjoy the episode.
That's fair. For me, there's something about... 'cause this is a Jack episode. There's something about the Jack flashbacks with his dad where, like, this also... It's not confirmed yet, but it's implied that in doing what he does in this episode, which is telling them all that his father was under the influence while he was performing surgery, that's the thing he did that his mother was yelling at him about in the first Jack episode. Like, after what you did, the least you can do is go to Australia and find your father. And it's sort of like, I get that. But I also think that it would have been irresponsible to keep letting Christian perform surgery. Mm-hmm. Like, that's also his name. His name is Christian Shepherd.
Can you hear the bells are ringing?
It's just like, let's just wallow in that for a minute.
I think he's just so despicable because it's not even that he made a mistake, because that's the thing that like boggles my mind about doctors and people in these types of professions is I was like, how do you do a job that you can never have a bad day? Like you can never mess up. And so it'd be one thing if his father made a mistake, but it's the way he's so entitled. It's the way he's so arrogant. And because you even pointed out like the shoulder rub thing and like the way he's so manipulative.
Okay, so this woman dies on the table, and they're
also go ahead.
They're doing surgery on this woman. She dies on the table, and then when Jack goes to see his father to see what's going to be written in the like report or whatever, it's not the truth. And they get into this like whole thing, and he basically comes up to Jack and he's like holding his shoulder like the whole time, and he's like, it was one mistake, and like you have to like sign off on this and blah blah blah. So Jack does, and then I think the first thing that triggers him is that he sees his father doing that to the woman's husband, also the exact same thing. It's a very manipulative gesture. It's meant to...
Well, it's taking possession.
Well, it's not... It's that, yes, but it's also... It's meant to convey, like, a closeness. And so like later when that man is like, well, he was so gentle, he put his hand on my shoulder, but it's a very manipulative gesture. It's taking ownership of a level of emotion that you have not earned with that person
and of that situation.
Yeah,
like
and
it's putting yourself as the alpha.
Exactly.
The emotional exchange.
And then the other thing that I think triggers Jack is I don't think he knew that she was pregnant when she went in to surgery. She shouldn't have been in surgery like that. Like, it's like a whole everything. And
there's the implications that Jack's not good enough. That's why they didn't call him, even though he was...
Well, see, I don't believe that.
I don't believe it. I said the implication.
But Christian makes the implication. He's like, if I was at lunch and you were right upstairs, then why did they call me? And it's just like, why did you just admit you were drinking your lunch? Like, it's just sort of ridiculous.
As what I was going to say was I was just going to take a moment to commend the casting of Christian. How
amazing.
And it's not even so much that he looks like Matthew Shepard's or Matthew Fox's father.
Yeah.
But he just feels like Jack's dad.
His name is John Terry.
Yeah.
He's very good. I definitely agree. He looks like he could have made Matthew Fox.
Well, like I said, it's not so much that they genetically look the same, but it's like it
vibes.
That the way that actor is handling this feels like Jack's father in a very like kismet, like genuine way. Like,
yeah. I think that's the other thing too that I like about this episode specifically, because and it's the thing that actually kind of keeps me going through all the Jack most of the Jack episodes, is that I like the moments where you can tell he deliberately chose the other direction from his father.
Oh,
like,
okay.
he's trying so hard not to repeat the sins of his father.
It's so I have plenty more to say, but I'm trying to go organically.
But then he has unfortunately stumbled into a whole new swath of sins all on his own.
Jumping to the end with Charlie being hanged and him trying to resuscitate Charlie. That's sort of where my groaning and my like martyr comments and stuff were coming from, is because it's like I just don't like rewarding him his fanaticism. It's not fanaticism, but I think that scene is borderline gross, because he's like basically beating Charlie's body, and Kate's like, okay, I understand, okay, and she like is overcome, like she's overwhelmed that he's not letting this go.
Yeah.
And she removes herself, and then she comes back and gets him to stop.
Yeah.
And then he stops and then starts up again.
No.
Jack! Jack!
Come on!
Stop!
Come on! Come on!
And I just don't like that he's rewarded by saving Charlie.
So
Do you follow?
I follow what you're saying. To me, in this episode, it reads as a like direct contradiction. Like, his father isn't here to tell him to stop. I think he believes he could have saved the woman if his father hadn't told him to call it.
Ew.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah, his dad's a bad guy. So I think what he's like,
I never thought about it that way.
So he's like,
which is so funny, because while it's happening, I was like, wow, I wonder how many times that you could have technically brought someone back if we didn't just go, well,
that's it. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, I just don't like rewarding his instinct to go too far.
I understand.
That he needs to fight hard.
Yeah.
That he needs to fight beyond reason. I think that that's the wrong message from that. But you made it work with your analysis.
It's the right message for sure. I would
also beautiful performance from Evangeline Lilly
really good
in her sort of like coping,
Desperation.
dealing with him
Yeah.
this whole episode, and then coping with that trauma because they're compounding interest daily.
If we want to, we almost made the comment before, but you did a really funny thing in one of our early Riverdale episodes where you were like, Archie, fists forward, bent at the waist. Running through, and Jack is very that in this episode where he just is like sprinting through the jungle. And I was like, that's how you fell off a cliff last time. And like, you know, Kate's not getting any tracking. It's rained and everything. But I was going to say the other thing, too, about it's that what you just said doesn't only relate to Jack. Everybody on this show, like, overcommits by a factor of 1,000 to, like, literally everything. Like, Michael has... Okay, I remember why we didn't like Michael now, because up to now, I've been mostly whatever about it. I've been mostly like, this isn't as bad as I remember. Now it's starting to get as bad as I remember. Because in this episode, they realize that Charlie and Claire have been taken, and they decide to start, like, a search party. And so they're all gathering people. And it is a little bit Locke's fault. But kind of out of nowhere, Michael is like...
All I'm saying is, I'm getting sick of being treated like a second-class citizen around here because Mount Baldy can bag a boar.
He's still pitting himself against Walt based on, like, Locke's whole situation.
Mr. Locke's a warrior, so if it were me, I'd listen to him.
Well, I don't want you to. You understand?
None of it's working for me. Plus, the last time we checked in with him, he was literally in the middle of building an aqueduct. That is still something that is like, we need to do. Stop feeling like you're useless just because you can't go traipsing off into the woods. The last time it happened, you got gored by a boar. Like, you know what I mean? It's very frustrating.
Yeah. Another thing that annoys me about this episode, and it annoyed me when the very first time I watched it, and I just didn't know how to put it into words, but I think I got it now. And frankly, it's something that I think the show does again and again and again. But basically, where we left off in the last episode, Claire, something was after Claire. Nobody believed her. It was psychological,
warfare,
terror. Yeah. We end with her potentially going into labor, Charlie trying to help her, and there is a threat against her. This episode is literally about everything but Claire. Like, it kind of annoys me because I remember thinking, oh no, what happened? And like literally every single time they talk about it, it's Charlie and Claire are missing. Yeah. And it's like, and I understand that the nature of the storytelling, like, dictates that we get Charlie back but not her. I get that, but I feel like it's something that the show does a lot, where it's like we leave the last episode with me literally thinking, oh no, what's going to happen to Claire? And then I have to jerk off all the guys in the next episode.
Okay, that's
do you know what I mean?
That's a fair criticism. I think I mean, you did just say that, like, narratively you understand why it happened, but it's like...
In this specific incident, sure, but I feel like the show does that a lot.
It does. I think the important part is that, like, we can't know about Ethan yet. To the point that he also... Jack encounters him in this episode, and he is terrifying.
If you do not stop following me, I will kill one of them.
And so that's when they find Charlie, and he's been hung in vines with, like, because he's leaving his, like, finger bandages with that, like, for them to find. And so...
Because it's like,
but that's just like if we were with Claire's point of view in this episode, we would already know too much about.
No, and I understand that, but it's just sort of like, and I think that this show has a good relationship with female characters, and we have, I will say, well written female characters, but I don't think maybe it's a symptom of still being part of the old guard of TV, because there's even that scene.
Hey, look, 3 men wrote this episode. Let's do a counter to peep count on the rest of our stuff. Vagina count. Let's do it. Let's
vag
see.
Count.
Yeah, vag count. Goose egg.
Because there's just, even because we also get the beginning of a soon-to-be arc, Boone becoming Locke's apprentice.
Yeah.
And we even get a scene where it's Shannon and Kate, and it does not pass the Bechdel test, but it's like, it's just so bare bones because Shannon's upset because Boone's not there.
They aren't back yet.
And Kate says,
I'm sure they just made camp for the night. If there's anyone on this island that your brother's safe with, it's Locke.
and I paused and I was like, could you imagine if Shannon hesitated and was like, I'm scared.
Yeah.
I've never been alone before and I don't know. Like, and it's just, the show's not really interested. Like, it's just so obvious that she's not important and you know, Kate, and like I said, I mean, Kate is a well-written character and she gets material. It's like, I'm not trying to overplay the sexist card and all that.
No.
But it is sort of like, where is the bond between the women? Like, where is the bond? But go ahead.
Yes, you're totally right. I do think we get some stuff later between different female characters. That being said, I do think it's sexist, but I think it's by accident.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't think that, despite this being all male writers that are credited every time, I don't think it's on purpose.
No.
I think it's just blinders. They just don't get it.
Absolutely.
I would say it's like when you were nervous to write the boys in Fairy Tale, and you had so much of a better time writing the women, and then it's just, the thing about writing the opposite gender is that it's just people. They're all just, they talk like people.
But it's I just remember watching this episode and being so excited for it and being like, oh, I mean, I might as well watch this might as well be what I'm watching.
Yeah.
And you know, we get to a place. I'm really not trying to give it a hard time, but it's just sort of, I'm trying to actually dissect why I feel the way that I feel and what I think.
There's definitely not as well, this feels weird to say because all of the female characters do have depth, but it's almost like they don't know how to make those depths work together, because Kate is also very comfortable on her own. So that would be an interesting like dichotomy for Shannon to be like, I'm scared to be alone, and for Kate to be like, oh, I like it, but I'll sit with you if you want me to, kind of a thing. And I think that's just where they like, there's blinders and they don't understand.
And
because we also are absolutely tripping over dicks to name every single one of these men after a philosopher. every single one of them. Every single one. It doesn't stop.
She doesn't come from a hot minute, but isn't Rebecca Mader named after someone?
Rebecca Mader's named after someone.
Is it a man?
Mader, I don't remember. Oh, yeah, Charlotte, I don't remember. Oh, Lewis, C.S. Lewis.
Okay.
And then Hume, Desmond Hume it's all of it. Every single one of them. Faraday, all of them. And Miles is somebody as well. Yeah. Ethan Rom or Frome or whatever. Yeah, he's somebody too.
It just, like I said, it's not, I'm not meaning to take the show to task over this, but I think it's worth commenting on.
I think you nailed it when you were like, it's the old guard nature of it, where it's like, this show did still start in 2004. That's like a time to be alive. So
I think it leaves something to be desired.
It's like at absolutely no point in history could this show have coexisted with Fleabag. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't. There's nothing.
We did mention that Boone is with Locke.
Yeah. They have found something metal in the jungle,
which is hugely important.
Yeah.
And also Boone is
drinking the Kool-Aid a little,
cutting up red shirts and tying them to trees. So I think that's noteworthy.
There was something else noteworthy. Oh no, it was Hurley and Walt were playing backgammon, and they were like playing for money, and Hurley like left, and Walt was like, you owe me $20,000, and Hurley just was like, you'll get it. It's
things like that that I wish there was a little bit more of with this show, and also many shows.
Yeah.
A show, it's something that
especially a mysterious show.
I love something that you can watch and enjoy And then when you go back a second or third or fourth or fifth time, you can watch it and enjoy it in a slightly different way.
Yeah.
Buy Fairy Tale on Amazon.com. I put a lot of thought into that.
It's really good the first time. It's really good the second time.
There's a lot of things that when you're reading the book, you're like, huh. But if you're reading it a second time, you're going, ow! And it's just, I like moments like that. So, Jack furiously performs CPR on Charlie.
He is. That can work. He is like, it's trying to jumpstart the heart.
The next, if I'm ever around a dead body, I'm just going to beat them to a pulp.
Well, it depends how long they've been dead. He was like, they got him right after.
Who's to say?
He's still warm?
It was pouring down rain. He could not have been that warm.
He was hung after it rained.
Okay. Hanged.
Sorry. Yes, hanged. That was a bad mistake. I'm sorry.
I mean, maybe. He was maybe hung. We don't know.
Dominic Monaghan? I'm voting yes.
Oh, really?
I'm voting
he's
yes.
little.
He's got big dick energy.
Sure.
Yeah. I buy it. He pulled Evangeline Lilly for like 4 years.
She has bad opinions when it comes to vaccines.
Yeah.
It's a bummer. Okay, bye.